Hello my friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you haven't already, go ahead, click that subscribe button, come on over, join the love, join the family. I want you here and I'm excited that you're joining along in this video. So today I thought it would be cool to do a story time about my detox experience. So for some of you who have been subscribed for a little while, you've seen that a lot of the stuff on my channel focuses on addiction and recovery, and that's really my motive for this channel, is to really shed some more light on, you know, the reality of addiction and what's going on in our world right now, but also to, you know, provide some hope for those that are out there and that are struggling and suffering either in or out of addiction, who have a family member who's struggling with addiction and suffering right now. Like, I really want to bring this and make this a public thing so that we don't have to hide in the dark anymore, and so that people know that there's more than just a couple of us and that you're not alone. So thank you for clicking on this video, and let's get into it. So like I mentioned before, I want to do a story time about my experience in detox experiences, because I went to detox 3 times, and every single time I got out, I ended up relapsing. The first time I went to detox, I was 18 years old. I went to a youth detox out here where I lived, and it was across the street from a hospital. And when I got there, I was coming off of some pretty hard stuff, and the detox from the substances that I was addicted to was very much like having the flu, but amplified by like 100. You know, I was shaking, I was cold, then I was hot, I couldn't get comfortable, I had restless legs, restless arms, my whole body hurt, I was vomiting, I had no bowel control. I know it's super gross, but like, I'm trying to keep it real over here on this channel. There's the truth. That's the truth. Oh, it was just awful. And so I went into this detox center the first time, and I was terrified, because the thing that happens for me when I stop putting substances in my system with no recovery is anxiety peaks. Like, it peaks in general coming off of substances, but add somebody who's got an extreme anxiety disorder, you guys, I'm telling you, it was so bad. And painful, like emotionally painful. And so I get to detox. It's one afternoon. I had used. My mom drives me to this detox. I go in, I do my intake, and when you get into detox, you sit down with like an intake nurse, or at least at the one that I went to, you sit down with an intake nurse, and you know, she asks you some questions about your history, about your health, what substances you're coming in to get off of, and then you have to pee in a cup. And you know, I don't really know what that was for, but I guess people, you know, can lie and say they're coming off of something they might not really be coming off of to get medication. I mean, I've done crazy stuff, so who knows? If you know why they make you pee in a cup at detox, can you leave me a comment down below, please? Because to this day, I still have no idea. But I'm thinking it's something along those lines. Anyway, so that happens, and then they take me off into the youth ward, because the detox that I was in was youth and adults. And the only time we were mingled with the adults was sometimes during meetings. They would have people come in from the community for different 12-step meetings, and they'd do a panel, and we didn't have to, but we got to go and sit and listen to that. And meal times, so we weren't really, you know, interacting with the adults. And the youth side was a lot nicer. We had a big TV, we had comfy couches, we had a foosball table. Like, I don't know why they were trying to make it like Club Med. Like, half the kids coming in there were coming off of like hard stuff. Like, all we want to do is lay in bed and make the feeling pass, you know, get our medicine, and just, oh, it was awful. But it was really nice. It was a really nice detox. And the first day I got there, I think I ate dinner, and then because it had been a while since the last time I picked up, I was starting to get the early symptoms of withdrawal. So I started sneezing, I started getting hot and cold, I started having cramps and stomach aches, and you know, that the restless feeling that came for me. And disclaimer, this isn't like, if you're somebody new here who has no experience with addiction and recovery, or what addiction looks like, this isn't every drug addiction. This is just happens to be the particular substance that I was coming off of creates this flu-like feeling. You can't, or at the time, I don't know now, but you can't die from this type of withdrawal, but alcohol and benzodiazepines are the two that you have to be very carefully monitored coming off of, because you get very sick. Your body starts basically metabolizing and living off of what is in those substances in order to function, and when you take that away, your body just shuts down. Anyways, do your research on that. So anyways, the substance I was coming off of, although it felt like I was dying, I wasn't. And, you know, like I said, after dinner, started to feel sick. So I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, and like, I got hit with just this, like, and it would happen during my addiction when I didn't, like, when I woke up and I didn't, have what I needed. I just got this, like, hit with this, like, like, wave of anxiety, like just a punch to the chest of like, wake up, kid, you've got nothing, look where you're at, you're in detox, you're 18, what have you got going for you? And just the fear, like that fear was so crippling. So I got up and I went and saw a doctor and was assessed and was given the okay to be given an anti-withdrawal management medication, if you will. For those of you who are in recovery, I'm sure you can pick up on what I'm laying down here, even if you're not in recovery or a healthcare professional, whoever you are watching this video, you know what I'm talking about. So I was given this stuff, and they were going to taper me off of it. So of course I get this medication, and not long after, like, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better. That anxiety from the morning is gone. You know, it was, for me, it was just like taking that first whatever. So being on that medication for the 7 days that I was in didn't make it that tough. I binged watched Breaking Bad while I was in detox. I did arts and crafts. I ate really good food. I talked on the phone. Like, my partner at the time, the one that I was in that really long relationship with from my last video, if you haven't seen it, go on over. Kind of gives you synopsis of how I ended up in detox. He was still out there. I was on the phone with him all the time, listening to all the crazy things he was doing, you know, and like, I don't know, I wanted to be clean because I didn't want to be sick, and I didn't want to be suffering the way I was suffering anymore, and like facing homelessness and everything else that I was going through. But at the same time, like, I was so envious of what he was doing. So I get out of detox and I go home, and I stayed clean for 30 days. Okay, I stayed clean for 30 days, and on that 30th day, I was like, I'm gonna go celebrate. So what did I do? I did what any addict would do, and I went out and I picked up. And that winter, that was in November. Very quickly, I picked up the one substance I said I was never going to do and ended up back in detox. And this time I ended up back in detox because my high school teacher, high school counselor from this alternative education school that I was now going to begged me. And on his Saturday, okay, this is how much this man cared about me and my well-being. He drove out from a city 45 minutes away from where I was on a Saturday night, leaving his wife and daughter, and his daughter, I don't think his daughter was even a year old yet, drove all the way out to pick me up, then drive me 30 minutes the other way back to detox. And you know, I ran from him at first, even though when he had asked me if I would go back to detox, I said, sure, you can meet me here. I'll be at this location. I'll have my bags. When he told me he was 5 minutes away, I ran. Okay, I ran down an alley. I was gone. And this man, like, I was so selfish. Didn't care. Didn't think about the fact that he had a family at home. Didn't think about the fact that he was out chasing me, some delinquent 18-year-old drug addict around. Like, just didn't care. I was so selfish. So, anyways, I make the decision to go walk to his car and got in. And I was in like crazy obsession in my brain. Like, how am I going to leave? How am I going to get more? How am I going to get out of this? You know, da-da-da-da. And I went back. And this time I went back for 4 days. Back on the same medication, you know, management, withdrawal management program. All of that. Did it all over again. Parents come to pick me up from detox. And I go home that night. I'm on the phone calling my dealer. Addiction, man, it's crazy. And, you know, I spiraled for a really long time after that. And, you know, I went back one more time and I lasted, I think I would be surprised if I even made it 24 hours that time. I was so, like, just so crazy in my brain that, it's a blur to me. But I think that I made it out there, and then I don't think I made it a full night. It's so weird, like, I still can't remember to this day. But yeah, 3 times I went to detox. And the last time I cleaned up, I didn't do detox. I attempted a couple more times on my own, but, you know. So my experience in detox overall, in youth detox, my experience overall, the staff at the facility that I went through were great. You know, if I was in there today as an adult though, the situations would be very different. Youth get, in my opinion, the best of the best. I mean, there's still so many flaws in the system, in the judicial system, in the, you know, God, in the family services system. There are so many flaws, and there are so many things that are wrong with our systems, both in Canada where I live and in the United States, and all over the world, I'm sure, but, you know, Canada and the United States, there are a lot of flaws. But when it comes down to certain sectors of healthcare, we're really spoiled up here, and the youth have it really good. You know, we have access to, I had access to so many services. There were so many treatment facilities and so many beds and so many, you know, like, there was so many services available to me to help me as a youth, but I didn't want any of that. Okay, like, I really had to go to the bottom of the bottom, for me, what I consider the bottom of the bottom, before I finally got help. And for adults, it's not like that. There's more that we should be doing. There should be more services available for adults than there are for youth, in my opinion, because so many people grow up and age out. And some people don't even get started until their adulthood, you know? And the number of homelessness, the number of overdoses of street entrenched adults is astounding. And it shouldn't be the way it is. In 2019, we should have more education on what addiction is. We should have more education on how to help people. Our government up here in Canada, in my opinion, should be throwing more money into funding, helping treat the problem, instead of throwing people like me in jail where the problem is just as bad. Oh, I could go on forever. But as a youth, I will tell you, and if you are a youth out there struggling and you're watching this video, wherever you are, my heart goes out to you, because I was a youth who struggled and who suffered. And I know what it's like to be alone. I know what it's like to feel like nobody gets you. Like, I get it. But, you know, I am so grateful that I had so many opportunities to go to detox as many times as I did. And you know, I encourage going to detox facilities to anybody who's struggling, who's suffering, who thinks that that could be the first step for you. That is how I got more informed about recovery centers, treatment facilities. It was a quick access pass for a lot of people getting into recovery houses and treatment facilities. So please do yourself the favor, if you're struggling, if you're suffering, give detox a chance. It's the first step in the right direction. And if you feel alone, reach out to me. I'm here for you. And there's so many others in our community who are here for you and who can offer support and suggestions. So anyways, thank you guys for hopping on. That was my experience with detox 3 times. I'll remind you, 3 times. I know other people who have been in and out many times, but for me, 3's a lot to do anything. So thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. I hope you guys have a great week. Please leave me some feedback on the video down below. Let me know what you want to hear more of. Let me know what you want to hear less of. Come on over if you haven't already. Make sure you click subscribe. Join the family. Join the love. I'm here for you. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next. Take care.